The year was 1776, and a revolution had sparked in the New World. The British colonies were raising their voices for freedom. In the hearts of these people was a dream, a vision of a land where liberty, equality, and justice prevailed for all. At that time, most Americans were struggling to lead simple lives, unaware that their world was about to change forever. The beginning, a hard life. John Vincent, a farmer in rural Virginia, lived a life full of hardships. The land was barren, and the life of farmers was extraordinarily tough. John's family had come from England in search of a better life, but America proved to have its own challenges. John's crops often suffered from drought or storms, and whatever little he managed to produce was heavily taxed by the British government. John's wife, Mary, was his steadfast companion. She managed their small hut and cared for their 2 children, 7-year-old William and 5-year-old Sarah, in their innocence. The children were unaware of the difficulties their parents faced, but John and Mary knew they had to lay the foundation for a better future for their children. The call for freedom, John's life, took a significant turn one night when a young messenger arrived in the village. The boy carried the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson. As the villagers gathered to listen, the words of the document ignited a new hope in their hearts. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. These words resonated deeply within John's soul. He realized these were not just words on a piece of paper. They were the seeds of a dream that could become reality. That night, John sat with the other men in the village to discuss the revolution. Together, they decided to become part of the struggle, even if it meant laying down their lives. The beginning of the struggle. John gathered a few of the best men from his village, and they joined the fight for freedom. They had few weapons and no professional training, but their hearts burned with passion. John took it upon himself to train the younger men in the basics of combat. The village came together to support the cause. Women sewed clothes and prepared food for the fighters, while the men prepared themselves for battle. Each person contributed in some way to the revolution, the war and sacrifices. In 1777, John's unit was sent to fight in the Battle of Saratoga, a pivotal conflict that brought a major victory for the Americans. But the victory came at a great cost. John witnessed many of his comrades fall on the battlefield. One day during a fierce skirmish, John's closest friend, Peter, was struck by an enemy bullet. As Peter lay dying, he looked at John and said his final words, "We will win this war, John, for our children." These words gave John a new resolve, and he vowed that Peter's sacrifice would not be in vain. The winter months were especially harsh for the soldiers. Hunger, cold, and disease took a toll on them, weakening their bodies, but not their spirits. John often spent sleepless nights thinking about his children, but he knew this fight was essential for their future. Peace and unity. In 1778, France had allied with the Americans, changing the course of the war. John's unit continued to fight in several battles, driving the British back from key territories. Finally, in 1783, the Treaty of Paris brought an end to the war. America had become an independent nation, but that independence came at the cost of countless sacrifices. John returned to his village, where he worked to rebuild his farm, which had been devastated during the war. He and Mary replanted their land and rebuilt their home. The villagers held John in high regard, seeing him as a hero for his role in securing their freedom. A dream. Fulfilled after independence, John shared the story of the struggle with his children. He told them about the sacrifices and the dreams that had driven their fight. To his son William, he said, "We fought to free this land for you, but it is your responsibility to nurture and protect it. William went on to pursue an education and became a respected citizen, always upholding the values his father had fought for. John's sacrifices and teachings became the foundation for the family's legacy. A memorial to sacrifice. Years later, John built a memorial in the village, engraving the names of all those who had given their lives for freedom. The memorial served as a reminder that liberty comes at a price and must be cherished. John spent his final years surrounded by his children and grandchildren, yet in his heart, he always remembered his fallen comrades. On quiet nights, he would look up at the sky and think of those who had sacrificed everything to turn a dream into reality.